Hello everyone, I'm Nitahone, and it is Wednesday, so that means it's time for my weekly Crack-a-Pack video. These videos are sponsored by the Ether Hub. The Ether Hub is not only a channel that I have some content posted on, it is also now a gaming store, and you can go to etherhubtcg.com, check out their store, and you can sign up for bundles where you get packs sent to you every month as part of the subscription service, so go check that out. We're going to head and open a pack of Hour of Devastation, and we're going to talk about what I would take out of this pack in terms of limited. So we'll talk about every card so I can just sort of give you my thoughts about all of them. So our first card is Unquenchable Thirst. Now, Unquenchable Thirst is pretty good. It's better than it looked, I think. It's been an overperformer. Even if you don't have a desert, 2 mana to lock down a creature isn't terrible, but it gets to be really good when you have a desert. If you have 3 to 5 deserts, it's pretty good. Unquenchable Thirst is a card I don't love first picking, but it's an okay first pick. I'm pretty sure we'll find something better in this pack than Unquenchable Thirst, but it is an okay first pick. Next we have Mummy Paramount, a 2 mana 2/2 with some upside. It gets bigger every time you play a zombie, or a zombie comes into play in any way, shape, or form. Actually, this includes Embalm and Eternalize, which is nice. It's a good 2-drop. It's especially good in a zombie deck, but its floor is reasonable as a 2 mana 2/2. I don't love first picking it, and I would take Unquenchable Thirst ahead of it. Next, I have Kindled Fury. This is just a trick. It's, you know, all tricks are pretty replaceable. There's some that are exceptional. Kindled Fury isn't one of those. It does only cost 1 mana, and you can sometimes turn it into a 1-for-1 or sometimes a 2-for-1 if you're really blowing out your opponent, and that is nice. But things have to be going the right way, and you really have to be in an aggressive deck, and you definitely don't want to be first picking Kindled Fury. Okay, well, we have something better than Unquenchable Thirst, I think, and that is Oasis Ritualist. The ramp deck in this format is perhaps the best deck in this format. This format has turned out to be much slower than Triple Amonkhet, and Oasis Ritualist is great. It allows you to fix, it allows you to ramp, and it's also a decent 4 mana 2/4. Its ability to add 2 colorless mana of any color makes it so you can actually splash double colored bombs like Chaos Maw, for example, with a few Oasis Ritualists, and that is pretty awesome. Oasis Ritualist has a very, very high ceiling. It's a great card. I would take it over Unquenchable Thirst. Next, we have Kenra Eternal. Much like our other zombie, it's just a 2 mana 2/2 with a bit of upside. This one has Afflict. You, of course, are happy to play it in your deck, or maybe not happy, but you feel fine about playing it in your deck, but you don't want to be first picking it. I would take either Unquenchable Thirst or Oasis Ritualist over it. Next, we have Harrier Naga. Not a very exciting card. All it has is Flavor Text. It's a 3 mana 3/3, but it turns out that's pretty reasonable, and I would play it. I play multiple copies in a lot of green decks, and I feel good about it. It's good with stuff like Ambuscade. It's just a good card in general, but Oasis Ritualist and Unquenchable Thirst are better. Next, we have Traveler's Amulet. I was talking about how the ramp deck is great. If you pick up Traveler's Amulets, it gets to be even better because your mana base will be incredible, and you can just take like the best card out of every pack, and sometimes you can be a 4 or 5 color deck if you have enough fixing. But all that said, I would rather have the Ritualist than the Amulet with my first pick. Next, we have Striped River Winder. This is something that's nice to ramp into in the ramp deck, and it also has Cycling. Wouldn't first pick it, but it's a fine card. Still Oasis Ritualist and Unquenchable Thirst before it, and probably also both of the 2-drops. Okay, now we have a Cycling Desert, Desert of the Indomitable. The Cycling Deserts are all pretty good. I think people are still underrating them to some extent. I probably talked about it in another Crack-a-Pack, but the reason they're good is not only do they have the Desert subtype, which cards like our Unquenchable Thirst care about, they also have Cycling, which other cards care about. And on top of that, even if this didn't say Desert, it would be pretty good because it's a land with Cycling. Imagine if every forest in your deck had Cycling. It would be way better, right? That's basically what you have here, except it has a little bit more upside because of being a desert, and it has a little bit more downside. Sort of, it's a wash in the end, but it has a little more downside because you can't play it untapped if you want to play it. But they're great. I wouldn't take them before Oasis Ritualist or Unquenchable Thirst, but I'm happy sometimes first picking Cycling lands. It has to be a pretty weak pack, and this one has 2 cards that are just definitely way better. So next we have Crook of Condemnation. Basically just a sideboard card, but if you go up against someone with God Pharaoh's Gift and the like, you'll be pretty happy to have it. Don't first pick it and never mainboard it, but it's a good sideboard card. Next, we have Merciless Eternal. I don't like this card very much. I think I'm lower on it than most people, but I really don't get why people like it so much. Yes, in the later part of the game, if you have cards in your hand, it can represent a ton of damage. But the problem with it is it asks you for a lot of mana and for discarding a card, which sometimes can be a good thing if you have cards that care about it. But that is a lot to ask. 3 mana and discarding a card. Yes, it has Afflict, I know, and yes, it's a zombie, and all of that makes it a reasonable playable, but I've seen people first pick it, and I can't really fathom why. I've tried playing with it. People have told me it's really good, and I've never really experienced it being very good. I've never played against it and had it be a problem, and I've never played it and been really happy about it. So, you know, I don't like it very much. I would take Oasis Ritualist and Unquenchable Thirst before it. Okay, next we have a pretty interesting card that is arousing some debate within the community, and that is Torment of Scarabs. Some people think this thing is just great, and some people, like me, think it's pretty terrible. It's got that Torment effect, which means every upkeep, in this case, it does it every upkeep because it's a curse. Your opponent gets to choose between discarding a card, losing 3 life, or sacrificing a non-land permanent. That's really, really bad in a deck that isn't super aggressive. If you're an incredibly aggressive deck, this is not the worst card to put in your deck. But if you're not an aggressive deck in any way, shape, or form, never play this card because your opponent will always get to make a choice. It doesn't matter. If you're not beating them down, they're just going to lose 3 life every turn and just kill you eventually because you're not beating them down. The decision on Torment of Scarabs, because they know it's coming, isn't that easy, isn't that hard to sort of play around either. You're going to start keeping lands in your hand in some cases, and you know I've never lost to Torment of Scarabs, and I've beaten it several times, and every time someone's played it, I've usually felt pretty good about it. So it's not a card I like playing. I do think in the absolute most aggressive decks, it's playable, but the problem is, while there are sometimes very aggressive black decks like Black-White Zombies, more aggressive color pairs are things like red-white and green-white, and you just don't play it in that. So I don't like the card very much. All right, our rare is a desert, and it is Hostile Desert. This thing has been a little better than I thought it would be. Turns out that you want to play enough deserts that you frequently enough have lands in your graveyard, and you can turn it into a 3/4 a couple times a game, and that's pretty relevant. Sometimes just the threat of activation keeps your opponent from attacking with their 3/3, and that's pretty nice. That said, I still would take Oasis Ritualist, Unquenchable Thirst, probably the green cycling land, and several other things in this pack for it. But I'm saying it's a playable desert that I don't mind putting into my deck if I really need deserts, and it has some real upside. We also have a foil, and it's a foil full art land, which will be good for whoever wins this pack, and it's a very pretty one. And we also have a non-foil full art land, as you might expect. So that does it for this week's Crack-A-Pack. In the end, I would take Oasis Ritualist. I could see taking the Unquenchable Thirst. I think they're close. But I think the Ritualist is just better. And that's partly my own play style. I really love the ramp deck. I have a lot of fun with it. And it's very powerful, I think, as well. In the comments, let me know what you would first pick. Also, in the comments, let me know that you want to enter into the drawing to win all of this month's Crack-A-Packs. And actually, you'll get the last of July's Crack-A-Pack pack as well, because I didn't want to give away one pack for July. So thanks for watching. Don't forget we're sponsored here by EtherHub, and you can go to EtherHub DCG, which you can find in the description below, to get a really good deal on booster packs.